I get a firm handshake in return.
Yeah.
And both of you give very firm handshakes in different ways. Like Ken has this like weird bonier like crunch into it, like like a very crisp handshake. When you're shaking like Ken's hand, and Aegis is quite powerful. It's like a meteor.
It is. Yeah.
Like you are.
His hand is probably twice as big as mine, right?
I have a bear claw.
Yeah, I think with me it's like, okay, try to maximize like surface area.
Yeah.
And then go in with good solid.
But the eye contact, bro, is the big. I think that's one. That's huge. Like, look me in my eyes when you're shaking my hand. Yeah.
Not even just that. Like, even after, like when we're having a conversation, if I notice that you are, like, when it comes to first impressions, I see that you're like glancing away more times than you're looking me in my eyes.
Yeah.
Then I feel like you're not as invested in the conversation, or you're not as intentional as you want to be, or maybe there's something that is happening in your life that you maybe want to talk about. You're not wanting to talk about it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think for me, the way I guess if we're rating, I think we're rating a person right on that initial meeting, right? I think for me it's seeing how they treat people. The eye contact, very important, right? I look at that as like, okay, how's this person treating me? Do they care enough to give me their time, or do they only care about enough of me to give me half of their attention or something, right? And yeah, I think I don't try to go in with that first meeting, because I think in most cases I'll be wrong, on that. If I just say, okay, the guy is not doing blank, right? I'll try to average it. I'll try to do an average over the first like couple, maybe first 3 type of meetings with them, just to give them that time, because some people aren't cultured, right? Like, I don't want to say cultured. Some people are not cultured in our culture, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean, right? It doesn't mean that.
No,
and
it's
I've had
true.
experience with that, like especially going to Sheridan College out in Brampton for a number of years, right? Got a lot of immigrant students, right, from India and stuff, and like their handshake's totally different, right? And even how they speak sometimes is very, very, very difficult, very direct, right? But you just have to see, okay, like, is this because this person doesn't know what this culture is, what our society is, or is it because they're actually like, a scrub, right? But it takes I give them maybe
a 3,
1 or 2, 3,
1, 2, 3,
1, 2, 3, and chances that,
and you average.
yeah.
That's a good.
Yo, man, I got one. Like, I think it's one of the most thrown away words in our like language, like couple words in our language right now. It's the how are you? Like, if I ask you that, or if you ask me that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm about to answer, and I could already tell, like, you don't care. Like, I'm already turned off. I'm like, why'd you even ask that, right? Because I think like that is like the key that can unlock a door to someone. Those 3 simple words. How are you? And there have been many times that has been the gate, I guess, the doorway into a friendship.
Yeah. No, it's true. I think a lot of people aren't intentional about, like, I feel like sometimes it's just a formality. Like, hey, how are you?
Good.
Yeah.
Like
okay,
the automatic response is good.
Yeah.
You're doing good.
I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah. But I think a lot more people say good because they don't want to actually
get into it.
Yeah. When someone says okay, I'm okay, I think more people are more inclined to be like, oh, there's something wrong.
What's up?
But what people are saying, like, good as in like, oh yeah, like you don't need to ask anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys know this, but I think when someone asks me that kind of question, I think my default is like I spit out good, but then I'm like, oh no, wait, I'm alright.
Yeah. I think, and sometimes like, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I actually am good and people are like, yo, how are you? Like, something wrong that like that I
what am I doing?
Yeah,
that shows that I'm not okay.
Yeah, like, is there something that's actually wrong? Because I feel good. Yeah, sometimes when I hear that question, I'm like, what? Like,
Yo,
Is
so
this something
what
happening
about body language, guys?
Ooh, body language.
Yo, so an easy thing when it comes to first impressions, or even like average of like couple impressions, is that when I see someone checking their phone more times than they are like giving
Man.
eye contact or talking to me,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you
Grace
clearly
not
want to
impressed.
be
Yep.
somewhere else because, or I'm not entertaining enough for you to want to invest in the moment.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that for me is just like such a bummer when when we're having good time together and they're checking their phone like constantly.
True,
I'm like,
man.
yeah.
Yo, I wanted to say it's an age thing, but I don't think it is.
No.
Because I've seen people at all kinds of ages do all kinds of things. You know, some people in their 30s who are like constantly on their phone.
Yep.
And then also people in their early 20s who are respecting the presence of others. You know. Yeah. I don't know what brings that behavior around.
Well, the truth of the fact is that people. I hope and pray that people are intentional people, and obviously if they're not, then I hope that they may grow to be more intentional. But the only thing that like we can really invest in is time, and how we invest that is in one another.
The quality of the time too.
Yeah. So it's just like when people sometimes spend time with each other and this is only at least how I feel. When they constantly check their phone, they want to invest their time in that person rather than me, who's present to them. They're actually wanting to be present to someone else. And yes, sometimes I understand like there are times where like you need to check your phone for maybe like a job interview, or you got to let a family member
Parents
know
or something.
about like what's happening.
Yeah.
But to do it as often as sometimes is needed, I feel like maybe you're not wanting to invest.
Yo, I'm on the other end of the extreme here. I'm like maybe the hermit out of us three, and out of a lot of people don't have social media. Gonna have to get it because of youth ministry.
Youth mid,
So the necessary evil, but like,
add me up.
Hey man, I'm like, you know what? Like, if someone's gonna call me like right now, I wouldn't know because my phone is facing down and it's on silent all day. I will check my phone every so often to see if someone has called, but like, I just don't want to be a slave to my phone, man. And another one, when you're with people and even if they have their phone upside down, but you know what, it like buzzes, bzz, bzz, and they check it every time. It's like, yo, man, be here. And I remember this one time seeing this family, right? Family of 3, mom, dad, and kid.
Yeah.
They're in a restaurant. They're all on their devices.
Mobile devices.
Yeah.
Mom and dad, I think, are playing a game together, right?
Yeah.
Kid is trying to show dad something on his phone. Dad's like, "Shut up!
You're
Whoa.
I'm playing a game.
You're kidding.
Yeah, I'm gaming." I'm like, I was like, oh.
With the wife?
Yeah, the wife was right there. She was too busy, to hear that with her own game, man.
That is jokes.
Yeah, but this is, you would expect to see that on like a sitcom or something like that.
Yo,
right? Like,
but I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like sometimes when I go for dinner with friends or like I go for coffee, the amount of times that I see a couple, like once they sit down, they automatically go to their phones and they don't talk to each other, is so high.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Weird.
It's like you're in the physical space with the person you're with,
But you're far.
but
from them.
yes, you are not emotionally or cognizant in the conversation with that person. And I'm like, oh, that is so sad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not how I want to be in a relationship.
Yo, people are slaves to these things, these devices.
Yeah.
I noticed, even being at, like, when I used to live in Toronto, right? Like, downtown, be, like, waiting for, like, streetcar or something. And automatically I would check myself going to my phone, and I'm like, why do I have this need to, like, pull this thing out right now? Is it because I'm uncomfortable being bored?
Yeah.
Like, doing nothing.
Also, I feel like sometimes it's not just uncomfortable with being bored. It's that, like, people are uncomfortable with the silence. If that makes sense. It's like, I'm afraid that if I enter in the silence, I'm going to find something that I will not like.
Shout out to Cardinal Sarah.
You know, right? It's like, if I enter the silence, I will actually have to like figure out my
Deal-
emotions,
I have to
deal with the
me.
problem.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people will rather distract themselves.
It's so funny because I talked to some youth, and that's one of the reasons they don't like adoration at times.
Ooh.
Because they're like, oh, it's real, it's just me.
Wow.
And it's like, well, no, it's actually you and God.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like they don't have that perspective on it, right? It's like, oh, I have to deal with like my thoughts in my head. It's like, well, let's do that. Let's deal with the thoughts in our head, because if not now, then when?
And then I think the other maybe spectrum, at least from my experience, is that sometimes people sometimes people are just on their phones because not so much that they have something to do on their phones or they want to distract themselves, but sometimes they want to show other people that they're like, that they have things going on in their lives. You know, they like want to give the persona like, I have things going on in my life.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes people are like, it's okay not to sometimes have anything.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay. Like to just be living.
Yeah.
Without, like, sometimes there's so many people that want to just live without being busy.
Do.
Yeah. But I feel like sometimes people are uncomfortable with how other people look at them or see them.
If they're not living this like lavish or busy or extraordinary life, right?
And I think that just has to be like comfortable with who you are.
I really like when people bring others into conversations, like when they are a linker. Like, say,
hey, what do you think about? Hey, AJ, what do you think about this?
Like,
right on.
When you're in a group of 3 or 4 people and you have those people who are, that's a positive quality. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
you know what? I think, especially for the introverted people, because I would consider myself one of those. I really appreciate when people do that, because it's hard for us to work our way into a conversation, because
it's true.
We might not be we might be super soft spoken. Like myself at times, right? And I appreciate.
I don't see it that often, Ken. Like,
yeah,
you're a really funny guy.
Because you know me now, right?
And also, I think it's because like when we have one another around, it gives us that sense of protection and comfort that like I have someone that'll back me up. But like, I'll give you an example. Me and my mom went to Alpha this past Wednesday.
Nice.
And I told my mom, like, oh, Mom, we're going to sit separately from each other so you can make friends and I can meet new people. There was really no one actually close to my age at the Alpha. Everyone was, like, younger than me and, like, way older than me, either, like, parents or grandparents. And so I remember just, like, picking a table that had, like, not too many people in it. And I was just sitting there, and I was kind of just, like, observing people and, like, seeing, like, what people are doing, like, who I can talk to. And there's like really no one like close to my age, and I was like, okay, like do I start a conversation, or do I just stay here quietly? Do I go on my phone and just like seem like I'm busy? But I actually didn't go to my phone, and I was just like trying to observe people. And then like I started a conversation with this like older like Filipino couple, and they're like, oh, like, you know, you're young, like why are you here? I'm like, you know, like I like faith and stuff like that, right?
Amen.
And then she's like, oh, how old are you? I'm like 26.
Weird.
And they're like, yeah, I have a 28-year-old daughter. Would you be interested?
Right,
I'm like,
okay.
No.
Well,
Which is funny. I think, and then what was even funnier than that is that the other couple that was beside me was like an 80-year-old couple who had like great grandchildren, and they've been married for like 60 years.
Wow,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and they
shout out to them.
Shout out to them.
Honestly, their name is Bob and Esther.
Wow,
legends, eh?
And so I was talking to them, getting to know them. They're like, "Oh, how old are you?" I'm like, 26. They're like, "Oh, we know like none of our grandchildren or our great grandchildren are around your age, but we know a Filipino young woman that age 28 that maybe you could possibly." And I'm like, what is with people trying to hook me up with?
Single guys should show up to the Margaret Duval Youth Alpha.
There's if you want to, man.
Nah, I'm not gonna do it. Someone else will.
But I was just talking to them, and it was a great experience because like you sometimes when you put yourself out there, you kind of meet people you would never really meet. And so meeting Bob and Esther was really great because we were just talking like 60 years. Like,
man,
like a lot of they said this with such a sad face. They're like, in the sense that like not a lot of people get to 60 years anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, to be honest, not a lot of people get to 10 years.